Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
I'm
I can hear you.
And I'm a work student here at IBM, and I created a little web application for events, for an event that we held last year here in Zurich. And first I will give you a little demo what the application is and how it was used. Then I will show you how I developed it on Bluemix and how it is integrated with Git and the DevOps services von JazzHub.
Die entscheiden sich jetzt ganz schnell, aber selbst dann muss der Server bestellt werden und der kommt ja eh nicht. Also das Einzige, was mir noch irgendwie so einfiel, ist nochmal, dass, ich meine, ich habe bislang kein Feedback bekommen auf die gesamte Architektur, dass ihr nochmal validiert, ob das wirklich, ob man Data Stage...
ich habe hier jetzt eine ziemlich laute Stimme im Hintergrund, die, glaube ich, nicht zu der Session gehört.
Can you go on mute? Okay, anyway, so I'm going to show you how it's integrated with the DevOps services, with JazzHub, the Git repository, and so on. And next I will show you how the database is connected, how you can access it and bind it to your application. And last, how you can access the data on the database and how to manipulate the data via a user interface. So that was just the overview, and now I'm going to start with the demo. So this was the application.
All participants are now in listen-only mode.
Devices. So all the UI elements are a bit big for a desktop environment, but yeah, I think you can imagine it on a mobile phone. So what we have here is the agenda of the event. So if you click on it, you will see all the talks that are on each day or on this date, and you can click on the talk and you will see additional information about the talk, so where it is and who's going to speak and so on. Next, you will have your personal agenda if you have registered in before, and if you enter your email address, you should get to your personal agenda. Somehow it doesn't work. Anyways, but it's more or less the same, just the event you registered for. Further, you have information about the speakers, which is not working now anymore. Oh, now fine. So if you go here on speakers, you have information about the speakers, and yeah, of course, it's all fake data. And in the end, you can also give feedback. So how did I do this on Bluemix? Well, first I'm going to show you how I started, and I started by just creating a new application from the boilerplates that are available, and I chose a Node.js boilerplate, and I'm just going to run through it a bit quickly, but I hope you can follow. So if you can create a new app, and let's call it new app, and a domain, and just let it create for us. Okay, now our new application is created, and we should see it somewhere in the list here. Now we don't want a data cache as a service, but a database. So we remove the existing service that was created with the boilerplate. Just click delete service, and it's deleted. Now we want a relational database. So let's add a new service. Let's choose a database. Let's say a Postgres database, and bind it to the application. So here you see where it will be bound to, and the name, I leave it like this, and just create. And now restart the app, and now I have an application with a Postgres database. So if I want to work on this, now I would like to edit the application and code and do my changes. I can add, now it's the Git part, I can add a Git repository. I don't know if you know what it is. Git is more or less your source control management, so where you host your code and where you commit your changes and you can revert the changes, so you can work with the code. If it has some errors, you can just go back to previous stages of the application. And I can add this via add git, and now it will create such a repository for me. And every time, here it says, every time I push to the repository, the app will reload and deploy again with the changes. So I will show you later what this means. But I let the Git repository start, and it should be created soon. And then in my JazzHub, okay, now it should have been created. This is my JazzHub environment from the IBM DevOps services. Now if I reload, I should now here have a new repository. That's the new app I just created. And here I see a Git URL. That's like the access point to that Git repository, and I can copy that. And if I want to have it on my computer, I could just say git clone. That means clone me the repository and then give the URL. And now it should start to clone the repository from my JazzHub environment. So I just went through my credentials. And now it should clone it from here to my desktop. Okay, now it's done. I can open a text editor and go to my desktop and open the new app. And here I see the source code of the application where I could change stuff I would like to have changed. I can now also show you how you could run this locally if you're interested. So if you're developing, how do you test it on your machine? And well, what you do, it's a Node project. You go to the application and then you install all required packages. And here we delete the cache. That's the service we deleted on Bluemix, so we will not need it anymore. And we can also here delete all cache stuff. And now I have installed the packages that are required for this application, and now I should just be able to node app.js and have on my machine the application that is running also on Bluemix. So that's the same application I would access from here, unless the route is not registered. It stopped because, okay, it stopped because we had those cache stuff for the cache service was still in the code, and the service, I have deleted the service, that's why the application doesn't run anymore. But what I could do now is put the code that is running on my machine back to Bluemix, so the application will run again. How I can do this is by committing the changes to this Git repository and then push it, and then the app will restart, and the changes that I made here on my local machine will also be deployed to Bluemix, and I will have the current version. So I could say git commit. I'm not sure where to do it with. I can show you with a interface. Say, this is my new repository, and here I see that I have changed stuff, and I can commit these changes, a new commit, and link them with the server. Now this is again my project on the JazzHub environment, and here if I click build and deploy, I should see all the commits to the repository, and I just did a commit on my local machine, and now here it says pending. So there is a commit coming, and it is now deploying to the Bluemix environment. So if I reload, I hope it changes to OK. It's still pending. But what's now going on in the background is that my changes are committed to the JazzHub repository, and from there it's deployed. Now it's OK, deployed to Bluemix. The app should be restarted, and if I click on it, it should be running. So I hope you could follow all those steps, and if you can't, so feel free to ask anything.
Any questions here in the audience? Okay, I just opened the phone line again. Maybe somebody in the web session has a question.
All participants are now in interactive talk mode.
Okay, are there any questions in the web session?
Wenn ich jetzt spreche, wenn ich meinen Aufstern weggeschaltet habe, bin ich dann trotzdem hörbar da? Ob der den überschreibt?
All participants are now in listen-only mode.
Okay. So, if there are no questions, yeah?
Perhaps, Michael, you have shown first your application you have written for this event, for this mobile, and now you have shown generally how to work with the Git repository and deploy it on Bluemix. And what has that now to do with this mobile application?
Well, it shows how easy it is to start developing something on Bluemix. So there are just a few clicks, and you have set up all your infrastructure that you need to develop an application. So there is not this overhead of hours of setting up everything and then running a web server somewhere. You just click on some fields and it's just all done for you, and you can start programming.
So that means that more or less to deploy your mobile application, you have done these steps as well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe one additional comment. In order to run this application, which Michael has implemented at the moment in Bluemix, it's for free. So there's a free tier of services and application runtimes, and you don't have to pay anything to have it up and running.
There's one hardware question about the platform which Bluemix is running. This is on x86 now, or? Yes, the whole stuff, yes. And will it be possible to choose the platform on some stage to say, I want to run it on a Power, I want to run it on a Power on Linux, I want to run it on a x86 or something like this?
Okay. So, to my knowledge, this is not on the roadmap, and especially the idea of a platform as a service cloud, it doesn't mean that you have to know the underlying infrastructure, because because the idea is you have container level isolation of the operating system, and unless you want to deploy a build pack which is specific, let's say to AIX or to Windows, you don't care. Once you have to deploy a specific build pack for a specific operating system, then it makes sense to ask that kind of questions.
A follow-on to this, I mean, the Bluemix runs on soft layer, right? And soft layer has several pods. Will there be an option to choose on which software location your application is running?
I hope so. So currently it runs in Dallas, and we are building one in Frankfurt, for example, at the moment, and very most likely this will be the case, but we haven't published it officially on the roadmap. Okay. So thanks a lot, Michael. We have around 13 minutes. Then we have the cloud and talk. So anybody here wants to have a short break? Or shall I continue? Short break, okay. So we will meet here and start at 10:30 sharp, because then we have the cloud and speech.